The largest logistics hub in Europe. It's a nothing little city in Spain, in the middle of Spain. Why was it so successful? Why it's a very significant economic growth and jobs engine. Why are these clusters, why do they take place? There's a knowledge sharing going on, sometimes tacit knowledge sharing. There's a supply base developing for this particular industry. And there's a labor pool, specialized labor pool. He actually was able to document increased productivity in clusters, the increased pace of innovation, and high pace of business formation. And the question is, why cluster? Clusters may be an optimal point in some sense. Kind of the optimal industrial arrangement between very large companies, because large companies tend to be slow in decision making and slow to react to the marketplace. Small companies react very quickly to changing dynamics, but they don't have the reach and the resources of large company. Here you can have small companies, relatively small, operate as if they're large, because through relationship with sister companies around them, they can reach higher. So first of all, some examples. This is what Holland looks like. It's a whole bunch of warehouses. Now Holland became the major distribution center for all of Europe. Memphis is probably one of the biggest clusters in the United States, or second after Los Angeles. And it's not only FedEx. FedEx is a big thing, but all 5 Class 1 railroads go to Memphis, major freeways, the Mississippi, and of course FedEx. A lot of activity just because of the connectivity there. And they get lots of jobs, huge increase in jobs. There's a self-reinforcing positive feedback loop. The bigger it gets even bigger. So in transportation, what happens is the following. As the cluster grows, transportation costs go down because you can start using larger conveyances, which are on a per ton mile moved less expensive. You also get higher utilization of this conveyance again. Costs per pound go down. In addition, transportation service improves because as you get more freight, you get higher frequency, you get more direct services to a lot of places. So more companies move in. If you send a truck to somewhere in Wyoming, the chances are that not much is going to move in truck out of Wyoming. So if you are the trucker, you're going to just wait there for 3 weeks or move empty somewhere. You get more chances to move in and out. You can also balance container and chassis. You also have a lot of opportunity to share labor, equipment in Texas, which is a driving cluster. And there they have a system of moving people between the companies. There are about 300 companies there doing basically distribution. There are 5 universities in the area, and they have 2-year associate degree in logistics. If you take the degree from anywhere in Dallas, Fort Worth, the whole neighborhood, they guarantee you 2 job interviews. You have better transportation service, lower transportation costs, more logistics operation move into the park, more carrier move in, more services offer, and better transportation. This is the flywheel that gets the system going. It's a huge job engine. Why? 1 out of 3 jobs in Metro Memphis is a logistic job. And yes, there are blue-collar jobs. There are people who, run forklifts in the warehouse, and there are people who drive trucks. You have a lot of value-added jobs. It's a great place to put repair facility, and even manufacturers are moving in and creating subclusters. Some example of value-added activities. Flextronics, also an example from Memphis, right next to the runway, has a repair facility. You have a Lenovo computer, you call Lenovo and say, my computer is busted. You're actually not talking to Lenovo. You're talking to a Flextronics person. Now they'll answer Lenovo. And by 8:00 p.m. on Monday, you put it in a FedEx envelope on Boylston Street. It gets by about midnight to 1, it will get to Memphis. By 2, it will be in the facility. They'll have 20 hours to work on it until by about 1 a.m. on Wednesday morning, they have to put it back on an airplane. And so you put it in on Monday at 8 p.m. By 8:30 a.m. Wednesday morning, you'll get it fixed on your desk. There are hundreds of technicians working these facilities. They do on a slow night 2,500 computers. Some of the economic benefits of logistic clusters. First of all, logistic jobs are not offshoreable. It has to be done locally because the whole economics of moving stuff, let's say from China here, is you take the biggest boat and move it to Long Beach, and you put it on the biggest train and move it to somewhere in the United States. There you do the local distribution, and you do it just in time, and it has to be done locally. You cannot do it from far away. The governor can give incentive and subsidy to start it going. And there's an issue of government efficiency. Container export in Sweden, it's 6 days. In Kazakhstan, it's 93 days. Opening a warehouse in Finland and Korea is 60 days. In Russia, it takes 2 years. And if you go to any big logistics conference, you'll find the Dutch, the German, and the Belgian. They always have a desk, and they're trying to promote, to bring logistics activities into them. There's a downside, to logistic cluster. The downside is that if you have clusters that's too tight to each other, it encourages groupthink. They're always talking to each other and not talking outside. Turns out that global logistic clusters reduce transportation carbon footprint. Why? Because the movement are on large conveyances, full, rather than lots of small stuff running around. So Germany and the EU in general is pushing for building logistic clusters and getting trucks off the road. Because if you have a large cluster, you can use intermodal trains instead of truck. And they're trying to influence the mode shifts by creating the demand and supply area with large concentration, so you can have rail running between them and not lots of trucks. And think about delivery truck, and actually will end up, when it will be economical, run on electricity, electrical truck. Because the range is, when you have local delivery, the range is not an issue.